All right, so this week in the old pre-algebra. So today we're going to do geometric transformations. Tomorrow we're going to do algebraic transformations. Then on Wednesday we're going to take a formative. So we're going to have some whiteboard practice, and then we're going to have a formative on Wednesday. Thursday and Friday we're going to do some point testing of where different points lie and all that fun stuff. So all is well with the world. Okay? So we are in your note packets today. We're on F4 today, up at the top of F4. Okay? So we have some geometric transformation, or what? Sorry, that's the title of it. Some leftover stuff from last unit. Now remember that. So the 5 minutes that you were standing there and you could have been taking your medicine?
I was eating something.
Can't eat and walk at the same time? Oh, you gotta take your medicine. You have to take your medicine. Bring a pass back. Okay. So the 5 steps to solving or, doing all that fun stuff. What was the first one when we were solving something? What was our first step? What do we clear first? No. I know, but it should be. We talked about it every day for a month. What was the first thing that we cleared? Nope, that's the second thing. First thing we cleared. First thing we cleared. Parentheses. We first clear out our parentheses. Okay? Then we clear our fractions. Then what? We combine like terms next, yep. Then what? Add or subtract, and multiply and divide. But the kicker here is when we're doing an inequality, if we multiply or divide by a negative, what happens? If we multiply or divide in an inequality by a negative, what happens? Jake, don't get scared. Do I have your attention now? What happens in an inequality if we multiply or divide by a negative? You're thinking numbers. You're talking inequalities. That's, again, talking not the same thing. You're still talking numbers. What happens with our inequality if we multiply or divide by a negative? It flips. It changes sides. Get your earbud out of your ear. Okay? That goes for anybody else that's got their earbud in too. Get it out. Get it out now. Because if I see it now, after this morning, it's mine. Okay? Alright? So with that being said, with those 5 being said, do these 2 warm-up problems. Go. So there's no parentheses to clear out on either one of those. So we can jump over that one. There's a fraction in this one that we want to clear out, right? So what am I going to multiply every term by? Multiply every term by 3. Yep. So we multiply there by 3, multiply there by 3, and we multiply there by 3. 3 times x is 3x. 3x divided by 3 is just x. Just going to point it out there and then he erases it. Oh, that's all right. Okay? So this is x. 3 times
times 5. 15. Less than or equal to 3 times 2. 3 times 2. 3 times 2. 6. Hoods and hats. Hoods and hats. Why are we have hoods and hats on? Huh? Then what? What's next? Subtract 15 from both sides? Okay. And I can make that go away, which leaves me just with x. Does my sign, my inequality symbol, does it need to flip around? No, because we did multiply or divide by a negative. 6 minus negative 15. Negative 9? Yeah. Okay. So I need to have negative 9 for sure on my number line. What other number? I don't care what it is. What other number do I have to have on my number line? 0? We're going with 0? Could be anything else though, right? Okay. So now the big question is do we want it to go negative 9 on the left side and 0 on the right side? Or do we want to flip those around? First one, negative 9 and 0? Yeah, we want negative 9 over there, and we want 0 over there, because that's numerically sound. Smaller numbers left, bigger numbers right. Open or closed dot? Closed, because it's got an equals part. Yeah. Okay. Arrow going left or arrow going right? I don't know, you tell me. What is this saying? All numbers smaller than negative 9, right? Where do we find smaller numbers on our number line? To the left. Up and out like that. Okay? Second one. Subtract 1 first, right? Both sides. That gives me negative 2x is less than negative 8. Then what? Reese, what would you do next? What is negative 2 and x doing? Are they adding together? Are they subtracting together? Multiplying or dividing? What? So what's the opposite of multiplying? So what would you do? Start with a D. By 2. There you go. You divide both sides by negative 2 because that's going to make it go away. Okay? Now, in there, Reese, you said 2 key words. Do you know what the 2 key words were in divide by negative 2? First one was divide. You know what the second one was? Starts with an N. Negative. Because we're in an inequality, right? And we divided by a negative, that means what happens to our sign? It flips, right? So instead of the alligator opening that way, now the alligator is going to open opposite. So it's going to open the other. You need 2 numbers. I need 2 numbers. I need 2 numbers. One of them's got to be 4. I need 2 numbers. 0 and 4. 0, then 4. 4, then 0. 0, 4, 4, 5. 4, 0. This way? This way? Open or closed dot at 4. Open. Arrow going left or arrow going right. We want numbers bigger or smaller? Bigger, because remember the alligator wants to eat the bigger number. So we're going to go right. Numbers bigger than 4 are found on the right
Questions, comments, concerns, clarifications? All right. This next slide is not in your notes. This is just a soak it in type of slide. Okay? All right? So, we were graphing stuff all last week. We had 3 days last week of graphing, which reminds me too, if you didn't turn in F3, the big old plot on the back side, make sure you be a warrior today and turn that in. Okay? We said that all of our points are X, comma, Y type points. Right? And then we said that the X's were along this axis. They were along the horizontal. So the positive X's were over there, and the negative X's were over there. Smaller numbers were left, bigger numbers were right. Then we said we got positive Y's up there, and we got negative Y's down there. Bigger numbers are up, smaller numbers are down. Okay? So what we're going to do today is we're going to have a point. This is where we're going to start. And then what's going to happen is you're going to say to yourself, self, oh, you were right here. Right there. Okay? If you need to take a lap around the room, take a lap around the room. But I will not have you sleep in here because then you'll start snoring and drooling and then it's all this kinds of craziness. Okay? Alright? What we're going to do is you're going to say, I don't like where that point is. I'm going to make sure your earbuds find a way in your bag too. I'm going to take that point and I'm going to move it to here. And we're going to figure out what that's all going to do and how that's going to work. Okay? So that's what the plan is today. Okay? Now, we're back in your notes. So we've got this figure, this capital T. We got this figure right there, right smack dab in the middle of your F4 page. It says that we want to move this capital T, that's this diagram, we want to move this 4 units to the right. Okay? And then we're going to have different points and all that fun stuff. You could get up your notepad. Well, you can go grab a new one. Okay? So we got to move this 4 units to the right. So all of these points are going to get shifted 4 units to the right. Now this is one way of saying it. We can just flat out tell you, move everything this way, this many. Okay? The other way of saying the exact same thing is right down here at the bottom of your chart. Okay? What that is saying is you're going to take all of your X values from your original diagram and you're going to add 4 to them. You're going to keep all of your Y values the same. Okay? So that's what it's saying right there. Those are called transformation rules. Okay? That's what they're called. Okay? Now, let's do this. So point A is where we started, but we can't call the new point point A because A is already locked in. So we have to call it a new point, and so we're going to move it 4 spots to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. So right there is where it's going to be, and that's going to be called A prime. Okay? We call that A prime then. And the address, what do you want to call it? What am I for? Coordinate. I couldn't think of the C word. The coordinates of that point then, we start back here at our origin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the right, up 1. So the coordinates of that point would be 6, comma, 1. And we label it A prime.
Then we got to move to B. Point B. B prime. We got to move that one 4 spots to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we would label it as B prime. And what would the coordinates of B prime be? Six what? 3? You missed the word. Say what? Ignore him. He said 7. 6 what? 3? Because otherwise I think of the number 63. You're missing one key word. Comma. Yep. Comma 3. 6 comma 3. Okay. Then we got to move C prime. 3 spots. Or excuse me, 4 spots. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there would be C prime. What would the coordinates of C prime be? 7 comma 3? Yeah. And lastly, we got to move D prime. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So then that would be D prime, and that would be at the point 5. And then lastly, now we got to draw in our figure, because it said we had to move the whole figure, so we got to have the figure. Okay. Now, that's one way of doing these problems, where you take the point and you move it, find the location of it, and then plot. You move the point, find the location, fill in your chart. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is you can say, all right, I've got my transformation rule right here. There's my transformation rule. X comma y minus 4 is my transformation rule. So what we can do then is we can just subtract 4 from the y part. So 5 minus 4 would be 1. So this A prime would be at the point 2, comma 1. And then you plot that point. 2, comma 1 would be 1 and 2. Up 1 would be right there. A prime. Okay. Subtract 4 from the y part would put B prime at the point 3, comma 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 would put B prime right there. So we can do the transformation first in the table, then plot the point, or we could transform it on the graph and then find those points. Either way, we get the same thing. Okay? So C prime then is going to be at the point 4, comma 1. D prime is going to be at the point 5, comma 2. E prime is going to be at the point 6, comma 1. F prime is going to be at the point 4, comma negative 2. Okay? Because all we'd have to do then is we can just go through and we can subtract 4 from all of our y values, because that's what our rule said. We need to subtract 4 from our y Question number 3. Where would the heart move if the transformation had been this one instead? Which direction and how many would it have moved? If we're subtracting 4 from the x now instead of the y, which direction would it have moved? Moved left, how many? 4, right? Because that's how many it is. We would have moved this, the heart would have moved left 4. Okay? So those are the 2 different ways, methods, if you will, to do these geometric transformations. On the back side, I would like you to now, using this rule right here, x plus 15 and y plus 10, okay? Using that rule, I would like you to replot this. We haven't decided yet. This, you guys are the 3rd pre-algebra I've taught today. First class said it was a paper hat. Second one said it was a sailboat. You guys going with boat? 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 Everybody good with boat? Okay. Transform, move that boat. So the question was, how are we going to move over 15? Well, let's take a peek at our scaling. What does that mean? We're going up by 5. So each one of these is a 5. So somebody this morning went through and they literally went 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. They did it on the outside because then it didn't interrupt their boat. Actually, this morning was a paper hat. It's one of those paper hats that you, oh yeah, 100%. Oh, 100%. So this morning, somebody just wrote right underneath there, they added 15 to all of them. Just by writing it, because that's what the transformation says we got to do, is add 15 to all our x's. And then they said, oh, we got to add 10 to all of our y's. They went plus 10 right underneath all of the y's. Because then all of the math was there, right there for them. And I thought, that's a really good idea. I'm going to change how I'm going to teach this problem. Okay? So 10 plus 15 is 25. Negative 10 plus 10 is 0. So A prime is at the point 25, comma 0. B prime is going to be at 15 plus 15, 30. Negative 15 plus 10. Negative 5. C prime. Where's C prime going to be at? 40, comma what? Negative 5. 40, comma, negative 5. D prime. Comma. E prime. Comma. F prime, comma, and G prime, comma. So 25, comma 0 would be right there. So that's A prime. 30, negative 5, that would be B prime. C prime, D prime, E prime, F prime. and D. Okay. So homework time now. Let's give you a mod to do some homework. And if you haven't done F1, or if you haven't turned in F1, F2, or F3, you could also turn that in now too.